Yo, what's up, guys? So here we go again, guys. The Stanley Cup playoffs are finally here again, guys. And finally, the Leafs are not playing an opponent named Tampa or Boston. For the first time since 2004, we got ourselves the Battle of Ontario, Leafs versus Senators, guys. Guys, I cannot tell you how excited I am for this series. Not only for the fact that we don't have to see Boston, we don't have to see Tampa, something new, of course, but to renew this rivalry of the Battle of Ontario between the Leafs and Senators, man, it's going to be something else. I remember watching as a kid, those times when I saw Steve Thomas score a massive goal against the Senators in the playoffs, Gary Roberts with his double overtime winner, the stuff with Alfredson, with the Sundin stuff with the stick throwing, also with Tucker, with Neil and Domi. Those were just some great playoff series, Obviously, the Leafs are like 4-0 against the Senators in playoff series, guys. In total, of course, Ottawa obviously went 3-0 against the Maple Leafs this year in the regular season, guys. But, guys, regular season's one thing, and we all know playoffs is another thing. We all know how playoffs is. Playoffs, the ice gets smaller, things get tighter, But we all know, guys, that the Leafs had a great regular season, winning the Atlantic, winning 52 games. Stolarz last 8 games, finishing 8-0, 3 shutouts in his last 4 games. There should be no excuses as to why the Toronto Maple Leafs do not win this series, guys. The Leafs are a way better team than they were last year come playoff time, in the defense core specifically, goaltending as well. Stolarz is in net instead of Samsonov. Obviously, last year we had guys like Liljegren, Lyubushkin, Edmondson. This year we got guys like Tanev, Carlo, Ekman-Larsson, Obviously, Sheldon Keefe's not here anymore. We got a guy like Craig Berube, who's obviously won a Stanley Cup and still the North-South playoff type style of hockey. The Leafs guys, they found ways to win multiple times this year, different ways, of course. Craig Berube's done an incredible job getting this team ready for the playoffs, guys. But the big question will be, can this team finally get it done? Can the core four step up when it matters most? Can Matthews, Marner, can those two specifically step it up? Tavares. I'm honestly, guys, I'm not even going to say Nylander because William Nylander has stepped up in the playoffs, especially last year. He was big for the playoffs when he came back, obviously, because we all know what happened last year with the migraines. Willie missed majority of the first round series, of course. Austin missed some time as well during the first round. Obviously, this year, guys, the Leafs are healthy, of course. Obviously, keeping our fingers crossed, knocking on wood, of course, that everyone stays healthy. But this team here, guys, is way better than last year. The forward lines, I think, are better than Ottawa. I think our D-core's better than Ottawa. The only slight advantage the Senators might have is in goaltending. Ullmark is a former Vezina Trophy winner. Of course, Stolarz hasn't started many games. This is probably his first game starting in the playoffs. Of course, he had a career high in starts this year, career high in wins, So this is going to be something new for Anthony Stolarz, but I'm not worried about him at all. He has been playing some great hockey, guys. Stanley Cup champion, of course. Obviously, the backup for the Florida Panthers last year. So, guys, but listen, Ottawa are a good young team. 45 wins this year, most amount of wins they've had since 2007. First time making the playoffs in 7 years. They got some good young talent like Tkachuk, Stützle, Batherson, Sanderson. You got some veteran leadership like Hamonic and Giroux. Obviously, like I said, Ullmark and Nets. So Ottawa's a good young team, guys. But like I said, there should be no excuses. The Leafs are the more experienced team. They have the veteran leadership. Ottawa's a young team, inexperienced in the playoffs, guys. The Leafs have to do whatever it takes to end this series, guys, as quickly as possible. Do not let this get to a 7-game series, guys. Do not give Ottawa life. Wouldn't it be nice, guys, to see the Leafs win the first 2 games of a playoff series? Because I don't ever recall them doing that in a very long time. So if you can win the first 2 games at home ice, guys, the Leafs will have control of the series and they will be able to dictate what goes on the rest of the series. You can go to Ottawa, split the series, go 3-1 up. Just to give you guys a hypothetical. The Leafs have to do things differently this year than they have in the past. Show that hunger. Show that fight. Don't be scared to get in the corners. Don't be scared to throw hits. We've seen the Leafs be timid at times in the playoffs, guys. Not playoff hockey. I know for a fact that this year, Craig Berube is going to have this team ready to go, guys. And Craig Berube, it seems like he's going to be keeping the same forward lines as he did in Game 82 against the Red Wings. Matthews, Marner, Nyes. Domi's going to stay on the left wing on the second line with Tavares and Willie. It seems like Holmberg's going to be staying in the third line center role with Robertson, McMahon, and then Lorentz, Lawton, and Yarncroc. And then obviously we're going to get back Jake McCabe. Hopefully Oliver Ekman-Larsson's ready to go. We've been hearing some talk about maybe Yanni Hockenbach playing a game or two. Who knows, guys? But it seems like the Leafs are relatively healthy. We have the better team, guys. We won the division for a reason. They deserve to win the division. But now the Leafs, guys, got to go out there and prove it, guys. Like I said, the ice gets smaller out there. Things are tighter out there. Things are more physical. The Leafs got to find ways to, agitate a guy like Brady Tkachuk. Maybe let him take a bad penalty here and there. Tkachuk missed the last 8 games of the season, guys, before he played the last game of the year. And then he left the game early for precautionary reasons. So he might not be 100%, Do not get yourselves in scrums with that guy, taking extra penalties. Avoid that type of shit. Just stick to your game plan like the Maple Leafs have been doing all year, guys. The Leafs have been comfortable in 1-goal games this year, guys. The Leafs are like 24-2-2 in 1-goal games this year. So they know how to get it done in 1-goal games, guys. Playoff type hockey. They know how to get wins, guys, in those type of situations. Now, it's time to get down to business. Like Chris Tanev said, guys, in the last game of the year, this is what they've been waiting for all year round, guys. I expect the Maple Leafs to win this series, guys. No more than 6 games, guys. I think the Leafs will win this series in 6 games, guys. No more. If they go to 7 games, guys, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to think about it, guys. The Leafs have to win this game in maximum 6 games, guys. I think they can do it. They have to show their veteran leadership. Like I said, the big guys got to show up, specifically Marner, Matthews, and John Tavares. Morgan Riley's got to step up, play like playoff Morgan Riley like he did a few years ago against Tampa Bay. And if the Leafs do that, guys, then there should be no reason why the Toronto Maple Leafs do not go on to the second round, guys. But, guys, Ottawa are playing with house money. They got nothing to lose. Their biggest pressure was making the playoffs. They finally did it. Now they're going to go out there and do what they can to make the Leafs' life difficult and try to make things even worse for this fan base and the franchise, guys. Because we all know that if the Toronto Maple Leafs do not win this series, guys, we expect massive, massive changes, guys, coming this summer, guys. But, guys, let's not think too ahead of ourselves. Let's get ready for the playoffs, guys. The Battle of Ontario, first time since 2004. I am super excited to see what happens, guys. The Leafs have put themselves in this position to get a wild card team. Now you got to go out there and show why you won the Atlantic Division, guys, and prove why teams should not be looking at you as a dog walk and saying, oh, yeah, easy first round beating the Leafs, guys. That is what the Leafs need to avoid. Go out there and show teams that you mean business this year and go smack around some teams. Hopefully Ottawa is the first team that they go and smack around, guys, in the playoffs this year. But, guys, super excited to see what happens in the playoffs this year. We'll have to wait and see, guys. Game 1 tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Should be an incredible atmosphere. Hopefully the Leafs are ready to go. And hopefully they start off with a Game 1 victory, guys. But we'll see what happens then, guys. Guys, that's it for this video today. Thank you very much for watching. As always, guys, click like if you like this video. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Go Leafs, go, guys. And remember, if you do not watch sports, you're more. Ciao, guys.